What do you think? So I know it's dangerous to like compare ourselves to other people, but obviously not everybody is number one. There's one number one spot. Like if you had to guess, what are you doing that's different, do you think, from other people?
Yeah. Let's see. I feel like I have a bunch of things. Kind of like okay, the first thing is before every single training session, I've done this for 4 years, I write out the intention of what I want to improve on. And I do this like religiously. Like I will not go to a training session and just train. Like I'll write down like bullet points. Like I want to improve this. I want to figure out this reaction. It could even be, I want to put myself in this guard as much as possible and just see the reactions I get. And I think that makes a huge difference because you're being way more strategic with your training and you're forcing yourself into positions that you know you need to work on. And I think that makes like a huge difference, especially when you do it every single day for 4 years. I think it's a consistency thing. The second thing is every time after training, I write down, like we talked about, what worked, what didn't. So I'm reminding myself what works to try to keep going for that. And then what doesn't work, quickly implementing the fix. So I think that's a big difference. I think the next thing is you have to be honest. Like, am I putting myself in the best environment to win? And I haven't trained at Autos my whole life, but I've trained there for the majority of my jiu-jitsu time, like training. Because I think being around coaches that have achieved what you want to achieve and training partners that are on a similar path to you, you get like a real sense of what it takes. I feel like at smaller gyms I trained at, you don't fully see how much effort and commitment and time it takes until you train at like a gym like Autos. You see what everyone's doing. Everyone's waking up, everyone eats perfect, everyone trains, everyone's making sure they're thinking the right way, fixing their mistakes, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's important too. I think focusing your time, because like we talked about, you only have so much effort and time to train. I think putting the effort in the categories that you think are most beneficial to win is really important. So I put all my time in the beginning stages into learn as much jiu-jitsu as possible and try to be able to think about jiu-jitsu like a black belt. I don't think I could do that yet, but basically just obtain as much knowledge and just watch as much and absorb as much information and correct your mistakes, constantly get feedback from people, constantly write down what's happening. I think that is honestly like the biggest determining factor of improving faster. I also try I'm very intentional with my training, like who I roll with. I don't roll with like everyone because I feel like some people are high risk of injury and I feel like it's just not worth the risk of injury, getting hurt. So I try to pick smart training partners and also people that are very technical. Because I feel like if I roll with people that are way stronger than me, okay, maybe I'm getting a little better. But if I'm rolling with people that are more technical than me and make it more of like a jiu-jitsu battle rather than let's just try to win, I feel like I could get more like jiu-jitsu exchanges and knowledge from that. So I think that helps a lot. Also rolling with people that are worse than me, I think is super important because you need to have a lot of offensive reps. You can't just get pummeled the whole class. And then the last thing I think is the amount of effort it takes. I think people can't really see how much it is, but like I've literally like sacrificed like every bit of time I've had like the past 4 years to get like as good as I can at jiu-jitsu. So like every decision I make throughout the day is related to, am I getting better at jiu-jitsu from this? Like, is what I'm eating helping me in jiu-jitsu? Is who I'm hanging out with help my jiu-jitsu? Like I won't skip training, like unless if I'm like severely hurt. And if I'm severely hurt, then I'll study jiu-jitsu. So it's like, I think it takes a lot of effort, but not just effort, like smart effort, like we talked about. So I think it's a combination of all that. But I'm also just lucky. Like I have a really good gym I train at. I have a very supportive family. I have amazing friends. I'm not like super athletic, but I feel like I did sports growing up, so I can move in ways that jiu-jitsu requires. So I think I also am just very blessed and fortunate with, just overall circumstances to train and do what I do.
Yeah. Do you think, so that's a lot on like the technical side and how you train and like the environment and everything. Do you think there's any difference at all in mindset, do you think?
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference I'm pretty strict with, my meditating, my visualizing. Andre talks about surrounding yourself with like people that believe in you, people that are positive people that are doing what you want to do. So I try to really implement that stuff. And I think that's very important, but I think at the end of the day, you can't fake jiu-jitsu, and it's like your skill level is the most important. Now, once you're equal skill with people, the mindset's huge. But like you first need to just get to that skill level to compete against the best guys. So I think it's very important, but you have to realize you can't just fake your way to winning stuff if you're not actually there.
Right.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. There's like, it's a weird balance because like, going way back to your very first like Dallas Open that you won, it was like you had these theories about that you could succeed if you did things in a certain way, and it's almost a delusion until it becomes reality, right?
No, seriously,
it's like it's delusional until it's not, and then you're like, okay, now it's like real. But then there's like that type of confidence almost, or like really just like testing a theory almost, and then there's like the other side of delusion where like you can't fake the skill set, like you're saying, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like finding that balance.
It's the balance of mind. You have to be delusional, but you can't just like lie to yourself. Andre talks about like you have to be honest with yourself, and I think that's important.
Right.
But you definitely have to be delusionally confident too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's like going that like intense onto like one area you want to improve on. It's definitely like very difficult because like I'm sure you've had so many injuries. It's like a lot of ups and downs, and it can be like confusing at times, like is this what I should be doing? But like the feelings I've felt from some success I've had, and I don't know, just like the experiences I've gathered from competing and traveling and challenging myself, it's like priceless. That's how I see it. Like I've had more fun and had such good experiences from it. So I think it's worth it. And I think a lot of people have that desire to compete at the highest level or do something extreme, but they feel like it's not possible because their age or they started late or this or that. But I think it's more possible than it seems, I guess. Because I had so many people that told me like, oh, you started late, you started at 21, like it's too late. Another person's like, you're winning opens, that's good, but the majors, you have to, grow up in that lifestyle, and some people just have it. You hear all sorts of crazy stuff. So I guess the thing is like people should probably believe in themselves more because I don't know, everyone's human. It's not like anyone's a special athlete. We're all just doing the same thing.
Right.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, and you're the one doing the work too. So like at the end of the day, you have to figure out what feedback you're willing to like take into account.
Absolutely.
Versus like, yeah, I've heard things like that too. It's like it's always impossible until it's not, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah, I've heard very similar things, like that I'm old and
yeah, I'm sure you've heard the same thing. Yeah.
And I just don't want to believe that that's the case.
Yeah. Maybe we are kind of old. We're just not accepting it.
Yeah, it could be that. We could actually just be delusional. Who knows?
Maybe we're just, I keep getting second. And so maybe we're just delusional.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Interesting question here. And I think it's interesting for a variety of reasons, but I want to get your take on it. What is your ultimate goal in jiu-jitsu?
It's changed over time. That's a tough one. I don't know. I love jiu-jitsu so much. Like I'm having so much fun training and like pushing myself and giving my max effort. So now I don't really feel like I need to achieve this goal or win worlds or do this or that. It's more about just like challenging myself and see how far I can take it. So I don't really have like a financial number, like I want to make this much money from jiu-jitsu, or I want to win this title. It's more just how good can I get and just enjoy it as much as possible. That's how I see it now. I'm having a lot of fun. Starting a new job in like 2 weeks, so it's like I'm not making jiu-jitsu like my career, like I need to make money from it, but I want to see how far I can take it, and I want to do that for at least till I'm 30 and see what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's funny because that's my exact goal too. Is like, I swear I'm not just saying this for the camera. No,
Who's copying who? Am I copying you or are you copying me?
Who's copying who?
Seriously.
No, but that's the same thing because people have asked me that too. What's your goal? I'm like, I don't know. I just love jiu-jitsu and I want to get better at it as long as I can do that, right? It's like, I don't know how else. And it brings up an interesting question to me of like your realm of control, like, you know, like what you're in control of kind of. And to a certain degree, you're not really like in control of winning.
Yeah, you're not in control. Like, some of these outcomes are just out of your control.
Yeah. But I guess going into that, like whenever you lose a match or you lose a competition, how do you feel afterwards?
I feel good, honestly. Like, I don't know. I think that's the good thing is I don't like put like I mean, I used to, but now it's not like I put my value on if I win or lose a tournament. If I feel like I give my max effort, I measure how I feel by my effort. And if I feel like I fight my hardest and I do my best, I always walk away like happy, even if the result's not great. Like, of course, if I get like, I keep saying footlocked, I don't know why, I just see the tattoo.
It's a tattoo.
But if I get like beat, like of course I don't feel great, but I now just feel like happy that I got to compete, and I more view it as like less of a win and a loss and more of like, if I win, it shows I'm doing something right. And if I lose, it's like, why did I lose? And if you use it as feedback, you feel like, and you fix the mistake, then it should just be like, you don't lose that way a second time. So you're really just improving either way. I don't know. That's how I view it.
Yeah, it's like, either way.
It's kind of like cliche, but it's really like that. Like you win, it's great. And if you lose, it's like you learn so much about how you could improve your jiu-jitsu. So it's good either way.
Have you ever had a moment where you got like really bummed or pissed off after you lost?
Not on the top of my head. It's more in training I get frustrated for some reason. I don't know why. Because I feel like tournament I give my max effort, but in training it's more like when I can't figure out a position, it drives me nuts. It's like I like need to figure it out. So that's usually when I get most frustrated. But in tournaments, I can't really think of one time that I was like really frustrated.
What was
that? Do you have a moment?
Yeah, I
feel like
like
you have
a couple
one since you asked the
moments.
question.
Yeah, one was because I was in, I think it was like 2022 Euros and then like Paris Open or something. I did like a Euro trip, so I was.
Okay.
It might have actually been that same Euros that we went to together. Maybe.
I think it might have been that one.
I can't remember. I just remember seeing you after. I think I passed you as you were coming down the stairs at
that's right.
Euros, and we talked briefly. I was just like, "How'd you do?" And you're like,
"Oh, I remember.
Oh, I lost."
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But it was. I think it was because then I think Paris Open was after that, and like maybe another competition. But I had lost like the first match at Euros.
Okay.
And then I lost my gi and no gi divisions at like Paris. It was all these back-to-back wins, and like dude, I shed a tear.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Damn. It was like because it was like I don't even
a hug
know
if we were in the same bracket.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I would. If San Diego doesn't do good, then we hug it out
with the nice tatami sweatshirt. Shout out to Tommy.
Shout out to Tommy. Yes, there we go.
Yeah, that's a good plug.
You're a good plug, man. Same plug.
Huh?
I said the same plug.
I don't even know if it was just the jiu-jitsu. It was probably just like because I don't even know. It was just like back-to-back losses, and then but then Yeah, just like it was a very momentary thing, and then it just didn't matter. And then there was another time that I got like really pissed off after I lost like the Santa Cruz Open, but that was just because my whole team was there like watching, and I wanted to like do good in front of them, like so that kind of thing. But it was only like 2 isolated incidents, and then like every once in a while now, if I lose a match, it's more like getting pissed off or frustrated because I feel like I should have won.
I see.
So it's more like that feeling, but that lasts for like 10-15 minutes, and then I'm like, I just have to remind myself that. I think it's because I'm delusional. I'm like, I should be winning everything, right? It's
that's
like,
why I think it's going to be delusional, but it's like, it can make it pretty difficult if you not be too delusional, but like you have to, I don't know, we're all giving our best effort. So it's good to like realize like we can't control the outcome always, you know?
Right.
So it also could get pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, it's like, I don't have a specific moment that I was like, I was super pissed after that tournament, but the amount of like ups and downs in jiu-jitsu is like crazy. Like just like injuries and losing a tournament, and then you get injured again, and then you get sick for a few weeks straight. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, I just can't think of one specific moment for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, there's definitely a few if I just think for a second, but yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who's competing for the first time?
What's their goal?
They don't know. Their coach told them to compete. I don't know. They want to try competing to test their jiu-jitsu. Maybe it's a white belt or a blue belt. They just want to try it out for the first time.
I would say like they should just use the competition to experience something new. Don't put like a expectation or kind of a set rule of what they want to happen. Just experience it for what it is. And I feel like you could learn a lot about yourself from a tournament, and you can learn a lot about your jiu-jitsu, and it's very challenging. A lot of people haven't had that kind of experience, so I think just stepping on the mat is honestly like a big achievement. And at the end of the day, just it's easier said than done, but try to enjoy it, and you'll feel nerves, obviously, but I think you can use the nerves to your advantage. Try to make your brain feel like it's more excitement, and then you'll actually perform better. But I think overall, it's like it is difficult stepping on the mats, and at the end of the day, we're doing it for fun. So I think they should just treat it as a new experience and kind of give themselves a pat on the back for trying something new. Yeah. It's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I would say the same thing. It's
yeah, what you'd say the same thing.
Oh, I would say the same exact thing. Like
we're just copying each other.
Yeah. Just parroting whatever you say. No, but for real, I think because like I think it probably takes competing as often as you have to realize that like as much as you want to win, you can only focus on your max effort, really.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the times I've felt the best after competition have been when like I was just focusing on my effort. It's like I know that I did what I could do, and a lot of people, it seems too, like they want to kind of put off competing for a while because they want to get better before they compete. What would you say about that?
I think you should have like a basic framework of like understanding jiu-jitsu before you compete. And what I mean by that is like, don't just jump into a tournament when you don't understand like, you know, like the threats that you're going against. Like if you aren't aware of like shoulder locks or this or that, you could get injured. But I feel like once you understand and you have like a few months of experience or 6 months, then I don't see like any negative to competing. Like I think there's no perfect time to compete, and you could always say, oh, I need to get better here, I need to get better there. But at the end of the day, it's just step on the mat and just enjoy the experience and try it. I think that's most important. Because you can always say, I need to improve this, or I need a little better training camp, but there's never a perfect time. You just have to do it, I guess. Yeah.
That's same thing I tell people, because
if you see a guy with a Footlock tattoo, just run. That's when you avoid the tournament.
Is that the advice?
Yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I say the same thing. It's like, I think maybe because people are banking too much on wanting the outcome to be winning.
That's what it is.
Right. They're banking on the outcome rather than banking on the experience. Because you could train I tell people all the time, you could train for an additional 6 months, and that's still going to do nothing more to like guarantee that you're going to win the competition, right? It's like you've done like all these tournaments now, and you've done all this training and refined your skill set so much, and yet it's still possible to lose, right? It's like
I think it's like if I really like what you said. It's like if you put too much of a focus on the outcome, it's a stressful process because you're so focused on the winning and if you lose rather than just enjoying the experience and just getting better. I've noticed like the best guys usually and the happiest guys that compete are the guys that put maybe less focus on winning and losing and more of an emphasis on the experience and just like getting more data to fix their game. If they win, then great, you know what I mean? But more focusing on on how much effort you're putting in rather than what actually happens, because you can't control what happens, you know?
Yeah. Do you think, what would you say though to like, because a pushback I've heard about that is like, if you're not competing to win, then you're just going to set yourself up to lose.
Yeah.
Is that, what would you say about that?
Yeah, I think obviously you want to win. I think everyone's different, so I don't want to say you have to think this way or that way. But for myself, I've performed worse, and I've had way less fun when I put an expectation on how it should go. My new way I approach it is thinking I'm just competing against myself. That's what I think before tournaments. And I'm basically just trying to beat myself. So what I mean by that is, can I put the max effort I have to fight to the very end? Can I be as present in the moment as possible? Can I try to get to my game as quick as possible? So I'm not really thinking about the opponent. I feel like that's where a lot of the fear comes from. I'm just thinking about what I need to do for my game. And it's more like I'm getting reactions from an opponent, but I'm not thinking about, oh, I'm fighting this guy and he's scary and this and that. So I think you don't need to think so much about the outcome and winning, but I think you do need a sense of like wanting that outcome. But it's just like managing how much you think about it. That's how I see it.
You're the first person I've heard put it that way. It's like, I guess because the argument is if you're not thinking about winning, then you'll be complacent. But it's impossible to be complacent if you're focusing on beating yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
It's just a competition against yourself.
Right.
That's how I see it.
Right.
And like everyone has a different life situation and started at a different age and has different everything. So it's like there's no reason to compare against other people. It's just, you're just going to get frustrated or think you should improve faster or this or that. It's so much better if you just truly become the best you can be. And when you say best you can be, don't lie to yourself. Like, be honest. Like, am I actually giving my max effort? And I think if you do that, most people could get to like the highest level.
Yeah.
As long as they didn't start at like 50.
Right. Maybe highest level master 7.
Yeah. It's pretty cool when the masters are just like kicking ass.
I know.
I think it's like the coolest thing.
I know. Megaton did fucking worlds.
That's cool. So cool. Yeah. Wow.
I was gonna say, so if you look at it through that lens, it's almost like almost the way that you train. Like you were describing the single leg X, and you'll put yourself in that position and have like a goal of just getting a pant grip, and if you did that, then you won.
Yep. That
small goal. And it's almost like transferring what your definition of winning for that thing in training was a very constrained thing, and then you can apply a similar mindset to your definition of winning in a competition.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. And so it's like if you can win every competition if you beat yourself, right?
Exactly.
Like,
if you beat yourself, or if you lose, if you could honestly say, I gave my max effort, this and that, and did I fix my mistakes from the tournament? Then it's like, how can you be upset at yourself?
Right. And you still won because your goal was an internal goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like, everyone has different goals, but for me, it's just challenging myself and seeing how good I could get. And I don't see any positive reason to compare to others. It just doesn't do anything beneficial. I don't even think it makes you better at jiu-jitsu, really.
Yeah.
I really don't believe it.
Yeah.
So
You said something interesting too. You said that like you're not even like thinking about your opponent.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the same thing for me. Like I've heard people say that they'll like try to get themselves hyped up or like angry at their opponent and want to like kill them and smash them. I'm like, when I go to like compete with somebody, it's almost as if they're not even there, or not as if they're not there, but
No,
it's like, yeah, it's like. It's almost just a complete indifference to the fact that they're there, basically. It's like, of course I'll still, like, I actually get nervous because, like, everybody's taller than me and bigger than me and stuff. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta fight this guy. Yeah, not at feather.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, I gotta fight this guy. He's, like, I know he's gonna be strong and all that kind of stuff.
Every time you get nervous, it's because you're thinking about your opponent. Like, when you just think about, I'm gonna try to be as fast, efficient, get to my game, have as much fun, it's hard to feel like the nerves. You feel more excited, you know?
Yeah.
But anytime you start putting on the other person, like, oh, this guy looks big, or this guy has a good this guard, or whatever, then you get nervous and it takes away the fun. And I think you perform worse because you're more fear-based than like enjoying and wanting to compete. So
Dang.
I think it's actually beneficial to, I'm not saying you can't focus so much on the winning, but I think it's very important to take the outcome way out of it. I read a book, I think it's called I can't remember it. Lucas Lepre recommended it, not to me, but I think Cobrinha recommended it to Lucas Lepre because he was struggling to compete. And that book helped him win a lot of world titles, he said, just his mindset and stuff. It's like the Psychology of Champions, I think it's called. I could be wrong, but I read that book and it was really good. It talked more about like, less on the outcome and more on yourself and being more focused on the process than the result.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. More process oriented.
I'll figure out what the book's called.
Yeah, figure out what it's called because I'm gonna have to read that.
Somewhere. I'll give it to you if you want.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I still have it. I read
Sick.
it, so I don't know where it is.
And I'll return it to you next time I see you at a competition. Yeah. Next San Diego Open. What was I gonna say?
You gotta move here, man.
Dude, it's so nice out here.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
Damn.
You could just roll up there.
That'd be so cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
Can I live like just on your porch over there?
Absolutely. You're always included. Hell yeah.
I think you're right. I never thought about that. Yeah, I'm actually thinking back to the LA Open, the guy that I faced in the finals, because he was like a lot bigger than me. And I noticed that, actually now I'm noticing a pattern. You're kind of fixing something for me here. I'm noticing a pattern. You nailed it on the head. It's like whenever I start focusing on the opponent at all is when I start to get nervous and then my game starts to change. Like I start thinking that I'll do things differently and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
As opposed to, I think the times, like I did, it was just a local competition up in San Francisco. It was a BJJ Tour San Francisco, and like, yeah, just a small competition, just local competitors and stuff. And I lost. I made a video about it. I lost my division in like the first round, and then I went to the open class, and it's not like the competitive level was super high, but it was all like people of like vastly different body sizes, right? The open class is crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
I did it once.
I saw that on your thing.
It was fun.
I want to ask about that in a second.
Okay.
And I got to the final and it was against a bigger dude. And like, I was like, at first I started to kind of get nervous looking at each individual opponent that I was going to face. It was only 3 matches that I had to do to like win the open class or whatever. But I kept looking at each individual opponent and thinking about their size and like their build and all this kind of stuff. And then I remember getting to the final and it was a guy much taller and bigger and stuff. And and then I shifted my mindset to like not even thinking about him anymore. It was thinking about exactly what you said. Like, if I can put my max effort, if I can just do everything that I can do in this moment to win this match, then I'll be happy. And I wasn't, and it got rid of the nerves. And I ended up winning, which is a weird side effect, because it seems like when you stop putting that external focus on the outcomes, it's almost as if the universe like gives you the wins.
That's cool what you explained. Yeah.
Right.
I think, and it's like almost like I notice it's like when I compare my game to someone else and I'm like, I want to beat this guy and I'm fighting him. then my whole mindset's just beating him, and it's like however I can beat him. So it's like I might not fight as aggressive because I'm waiting a few minutes to sweep, versus like when I just say I'm trying to be the best I can be, which means I'm trying to sub him in 3 seconds because I don't even know how good this guy is. You know what I mean? You're more focused on yourself. So I guess it's like I think it actually increases your performance. Just like an overarching like comment, like this is just like my experience, like stuff I've experienced, you know? It's not like my way of training or my mindset's the right way. It's just what's worked for me, you know? So I guess everyone should figure out what works for them, because there's no like, you must fight this way or you must study this way or you have to think this way to win. So I think it's good to get different people's opinions, but I think you know yourself best, and sometimes you should look more inside to figure out what you need to do to win. So yeah, I guess that's everything. But
Yeah.
that was awesome. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Actually,
Or if you have another question,
I lied.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about eco real quick.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to ask about that.